Ms. Hutton? Here. Mr. Bellamy?
Yes.
Chair Trivett?
Here.
Vice Chair Stevens?
Here.
Mr. Fuller?
Here.
Mr. Carnifax?
Here. All right, we got some minutes to approve. Hopefully everybody had a chance to take a look at them.
I make a motion to approve.
Great.
Second. Ms. Hutton?
Aye.
Mr. Bellamy?
Aye.
Chair Trivett?
Aye.
Vice Chair Stevens?
Aye.
Mr. Fuller?
Aye.
Mr. Carnifax?
Aye. All right, board member announcements. Anybody have anything they'd like to share? No? Okay, great. We'll move on to reports. Financial report, Barbara?
Good afternoon. Since your last report in October, we've drawn down fund balance by $6,716,000. That was a result of $311,000 in total income, of which $231,000 resulted from interest income, and the remaining was from York County's second quarter contribution, and $7,027,000 in total expenditures, of which $7,010,000 is from CIP, and $17,000 is the operating expenses for the month. Be glad to entertain any questions if you have any.
Any questions for Ms. Dameron? Thank you, Ms. Dameron. Appreciate it. We'll move on to the operator's report.
All right, we're going to go through our FF&E report again, some operational updates, and review of sales and marketing. Some key items that have transpired in the last month. We've now had 2 firms provide us with FF&E design for furnitures, fixtures, tables, and chairs for the hub spaces, our banquet and event spaces, and offices. That's both Ball Offices and Workplace Solutions. Ball Offices will be getting us back a second revision of their proposal with some design recommendations that we collected as a team this week, and hopefully we will be able to proceed with a formal recommendation by next month. In addition to that, we spent some time at IAPA looking at additional feature gym alternatives. Waltopia was identified as another potential vendor for that space. We had a meeting with Waltopia last week. They provided an initial design early this week that was a little rough in nature. We are now refining and then going back to our other vendors with some further design concepts, and we'll have more progress coming in the pending month. And then we've begun the initial procurement of our sports-specific FF&E, gathering our full operational list of items that are going to support operations and kitchen smallwares, with an intention of getting a quote for that in the first portion of next year and a purchasing decision by Q1's finale. Here's a different look at kind of how we're approaching our project here. In the last 4 weeks, we've been able to complete 2 key critical tasks. One was developing a property-specific use agreement. This will act as our event and contract agreement. We've also developed some of the less sexy things in the back of the house with created payroll departments and banking information within Kemper Sports platform, so that as we approach a hiring of a general manager and other Kemper Sports staff members, we're prepared for onboarding. In the last 4 weeks, we have 0 incomplete tasks, but we do have several pending tasks on the brand development, website and social media launch, and pre-opening and marketing communications. We're going to talk a little bit about naming here in a moment, but that's all going to follow kind of the naming of the facility. And then some next milestones are creating local bank accounts in compliance with our contract. It's exciting for us to note that we're at the point where we're going to start taking deposits on events that are for the future casting, and we can start collecting money, and so we just need a place to put it. And then along with that, we'll start further defining our funding request process in accordance with Kemper Sports accounting policies and procedures. And then we're purchasing facility domain names kind of to match up with our naming of the facility to protect those, and not just what we end up using as the facility domain name, but others kind of in the surrounding adjacencies. So from a staffing perspective, we are close to next steps for our general manager. We've had 27 formal applicants, actually more applicants than that, but 27 what we would say qualified applicants that had gone through a rigorous component that got whittled down to 3 candidates, and we are now prepared to present the board with 2 final candidates. One of the items that I was hoping to address, and we'll kind of close with it, would be the board selecting a hiring committee to meet with our general manager candidates, and then preceding that, our sales director candidate, to provide input on our final, hire, if you will. And then we posted our sales and marketing manager position. At the time that we created the presentation, I didn't have the full data, but we've had over 40 applicants for that role. And so we're trying to align that with the timing of our general manager slightly afterwards so that our final general manager candidate can participate in the hiring of the sales and marketing director. Excuse me, on a sales update, we have 23 active leads. We had 4 new leads in from the prior month. Currently, we have 19 dates committed, and it's actually a little bit more than that. There's an additional 8 dates that we've sent LOIs to. We anticipate those LOIs to be signed in the coming week to get us over 27 dates. Yeah, good math. Thanks, Steve. I'm getting choked up here. So, the calendar's starting to book, and some of those dates are actually even in the back half of 2026, and then the rest moving into 2027.
Are those dates or weekends? Or
It
depends.
It depends. That many of them are full weekends. Some are singular dates, but for the most part, they're all multi-day experiences.
On the committed dates, are you able to put it out at least to start breaking down by year? Because when you say 19, it sounds great. When it spreads over 3 years, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, we can do that. Right now, we have 8 inside of 2026, and the remainder in 2027. The ones that are future casting are looking at 2027. 2026 is going to be a little bit of a condensed period with a mid-year opening, and then we are giving ourselves just a little bit of a cushion to make sure that, right now everything's on pace. If we, continue at this booking pace and the timelines, we'll get a little more aggressive once we're certain that construction is going to meet that. And so, there was a slide that was a late entry, but we wanted to discuss. There's 2 kind of recommendations and or items for approval. The first item for approval is our formal recommendation to call the facility Greater Williamsburg Sports and Event Center. We've gone through a number of exercises with local stakeholders, key contributors from the market, and then members of the board. So we're looking to make that formal recommendation here. And then finally, as stated earlier, we are requesting that the board develop a hiring committee to, vet our final general manager candidates that we can present to you in the coming weeks and hopefully get that scheduled probably by the first portion of the new year with a hire by the end of January. Questions?
Great.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
All right, we'll move on to the construction report. Looking good out there, Todd.
Coming right along. Just not today,
No, not today, but most days.
right?
Today, they probably wish the roof was on.
Just a portion of it, and you're jumping the gun because I was going to tell you.
Oh.
Yeah, about 20% of the hub space. Okay, so to kick it off, good afternoon. Just to go over substantial and final completion dates again, they're holding. We're still looking at June of 26 for substantial completion, and then final turnover beginning of August. So milestone dates, we do have utility and BMP agreements are in place. We do have a full building permit has been issued. We're going to begin underground rough-in this week in the hub space. So we're going to have plumbing going on, electrical conduits that are running into electrical rooms. So we have all our rough-ins starting in the hub space this week. Slabs are going to be placed the beginning of February, or the second week in February is what we're looking at right now. So all the roughing for that over the next month or two while we finish up roofing and steel on the hub side. Just off the presses today, so I got a couple of emails. We should have temporary power to the site. I'm hoping by the end of this week, this rain might hold these guys off, but most definitely by the end of the month. So we've been in touch with Dominion Power, and they've assured us we'll have temporary power for the building of the building this month. And then Virginia Natural Gas, we had some emails going around today. We're looking for startup sometime in the summer of this year, upcoming. So Virginia Natural Gas has assured us we should have everything to the building by April. Moving on to construction complete. So I'm estimating it at about 20% right now. It's not going up much. It's been the steel show, obviously, for the past month and a half. Building footings are 100%. We have finished the CMU foundation to finished floor on the engineered metal building side. Continue setting conventional steel at the hub space. We did start the roof decking this week. It's about 20% done, and it's on the northeast side, so it's around the back side of the building. On the engineered metal building, what we're finishing up as far as steel is the end wall, so that's all the way on the west side of the building. That's the last little bit that they're throwing up. They're throwing up purlins, just miscellaneous steel. And then they're going to start on roof and all our equipment steel. So everything in that sports space that will receive all of our equipment, they're going to start working on that steel. And that should be ongoing until probably mid-January. So site work is 20% complete. We have not had a site contractor out there for a couple of weeks now, and we don't anticipate him being back through spring into the summer. It's all going to be metal building and slab work. We'll be pouring concrete slabs until mid to late summer next year. Mock-up wall is complete, so if anybody wanted to go look at that. The exterior of the building, mock-up for the architects to look at, ARB, anyone else, is on the southeast side of the building. As you drive by and you hit that curve, it's right there on your right. So if you guys want to go out and look at that, and if you want to meet out there and be walked through it and let you guys know what it is, I can certainly do that. I've got underslab roughing again. So meetings that we're having, so we do have our regularly scheduled OAC meetings with the contractor, the architect. Kemper is involved with that. Our next meeting is 12/19. Additional meetings we have, so we do have a regularly scheduled Thursday operators coordination meeting. That's where we kind of convey what MEB needs to Kemper, who's helping advise on everything the building and when it comes to the operation of it. So some of the subjects we are currently talking about, additional signage inside the building. We do have some allowances for that, so we need to shake that out and make sure we know what we're doing on the interior of the building outside of anything that's code. So obviously we have to have certain signage for code, but we're obviously going to go above and beyond that. Feature gym discussions, I know Kemper has touched on that a little bit. We have gone a lot of different routes to try and figure out what we need to do with those gyms. I think we met today, and I think it was very fruitful on what we think a more wow factor would be. To John's point, we got that first initial design, and we were not happy. So kind of back to the drawing board. I hope what we came up with today will be a little more fruitful. One other meeting that I had set up that I have now pushed to January is the feasibility for solar panels on the building. So we're still entertaining that. Dominion Power engaged us because of the size of the building and the way it faces. It is a prime building for solar power. And in my conversation with her today, we were going to meet next week, but I need certain people with the city to come and sit with that are not available. It's the feasibility of it and the finances of it they said that the report that they did get was extremely exciting. So I have pushed off an exciting report. I'll be on the edge of my seat for another month. But we are still engaging them. Additional comments, so we still review design and submittals in-house as MVP, again, engaged with Waltopia, and we are re-engaging with some others that presented to us. Furniture providers, Kemper touched on, we should see something, a full design, second design from Ball before the holidays. I don't know if we'll be able to get together and review it all before then, but we should see something. And then as a final note, we have received final AV, so all the audio video, CCTV and access controls, so cameras and all access controls. And then City IT, Mark Barham and I are working together on the wireless access points. We have a little study going on there. We plan to present those to committee at the January meeting for approval. Does anybody have any questions?
Need to call you to go out and look at the architectural wall, exterior wall?
Not at all. You can just go out there. You guys, I think, have PPE and stuff, but I would be more than happy to meet you out there and talk about the elements of that wall. Yeah, the colors that were selected, why they were selected, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, if you do go, and you're gonna go on site, make sure you wear your vest and hat.
Yeah, yep. And if you guys don't have my contact information, you should. You can just give my cell phone a call, and I will set anything you guys want to go look at it.
Todd, have there been any comments on the wall that it's not what we envisioned? I mean, anybody concerned with the look?
So Guernsey Tingle, who was involved with the exterior design, they had a couple of minor comments, but nothing that's going to change anything. I think they just made mention of, I don't know whether it was the finish on the mortar or something like that. It wasn't big. Any other construction questions? Somebody's got to have a question about that. There's 200,000 square foot of questions out there.
You heard anything about now that the size of it is visible from the roads, the leaves are off? Have you had
Yes.
any comments from folks?
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, I'm a local.
Yeah?
So
you get it?
yeah. I've had a lot of friends commenting about it. And even some that say I go actually into the visitor center just to look at it sometimes on the way home. So, yeah, there's a lot of comments about that building.
Mostly positive, though, right?
All positive. Yeah.
Local businesses have inquired about, since now that they can see it, should we put a sign on bypass advertising that's coming?
Right.
We're thinking about that and whether or not that is something we want to do. I mean, it's not like it's a restaurant or something like that. I mean, so I'm not sure that there's really a value to that, but we'll investigate it. We did have a sign made a long time ago for that purpose, so maybe.
Good?
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Todd.
All right. You're welcome.
I should have said this during board member announcements, and I didn't think about it. We will be doing the State of the City here in the city tomorrow night. I think most of you all probably received the invitation. I hope you're able to come. Two things I would point out is that the State of the City is a recorded address. We'll play it in here like a movie at the same time it broadcasts online, so if you can't make it, watch it online. And probably one of the big moments for me is because of our engagement with MEB and Clark Nexum on the design of the live performance venue, there's a scene in this video where the background and behind the mayor transitions into that design and sort of flies around it. So for the public, it'll be the first time that they get to see how the sports center and that other proposed facilities fit together in a way. It's very impressive. So it'll be a good chance for that conversation to socialize a bit more, and we'll get to see how the public feels about initial design concepts. So it turned out really well. Hopefully all of you all can make it, or at least tune in online. All right, legal report.
Oh, it's vast, as usual.
Perfect.
No, we've been pretty busy, but as you heard, we're very happy to have finished up the utility agreements with CW, and now have those building permits in shape. And we've been working on the sponsors agreement that you'll see later in the agenda with Superlative, and I think that's in good shape as well. So that's all our report.
Any questions for legal? Thank you. Now's the open forum. If there's any member of the public who'd like to address the board, please step forward and address your comments to the board. Take about 5 minutes. Give us your name and address. All right, I don't see anybody, so we'll move on. We don't have closed session today. I know everybody's quite shocked by that. But wow. No closed session today.
That's truly a first.
I know, right? And we don't have any public hearings, so we'll move into unfinished business. The first one is presentation and discussion of sports facility naming and logo concepts. John, you want to come back up?
As stated in my operator's report, it's Kemper Sports' objective to request to formally name the facility Greater Williamsburg Sports and Events Center. We'd like to formally do that.
You know, I'm comfortable with that. That's where we had debated and discussed, and so for me, I'd be ready to adopt that as the name unless you have other discussion amongst the board.
And I think that's close enough to what we've been using from the beginning that makes sense to me.
Want a motion to do that?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's make it formal.
Make a motion to name the facility Greater Williamsburg Sports and Events Center.
Second.
Ms. Hutton? Aye. Mr. Bellamy?
Aye.
Chair Trivett?
Aye.
Vice Chair Stevens?
Aye.
Mr. Fuller?
Aye.
Mr. Carnifax?
Aye.
Great. Thanks, John. Congratulations on a new name. New old name. Classic government style. How many months did it take us to add one word? Okay, we'll move on. Consideration and action regarding the contract for naming rights services with the Superlative Group. Travis, you want to come up and talk to us about that?
Good afternoon. As we all know, it's not uncommon for facilities like we have to want to do naming rights to generate a continuous revenue stream to help the bottom line. With that, you guys, the board had tasked me, it was the end of 2023, in December and then March of 24 to put out 2 different RFPs for naming rights, and those did not go well. We didn't have a lot of activity, so we didn't have interests that were coming in on that. With that being said, the board did go out and try to generate some interest. We actually also brought on Victus advisors to help us out to do some formulation of what we are looking for and what we could offer. And at that point, we had some activity, but we didn't have what we were looking for. So at that point, the board did decide to ask me to draft an RFP for naming rights sales and service, to find somebody that could go out and do that for us. We did do that. The actual RFP went out in September. It closed in October. We had one proposal from Superlative, which when I proposed that to the board, there were some unanswered questions and some things that you asked of me to get with them and button up, and they have done that. So at this time, we do have their amended agreement, and at this point, the staff recommends that the board approve the contract with Superlative Group as drafted. Any questions?
I think we've talked enough. I'm
Yeah,
okay with
I
it.
mean, I think you took our direction, accomplished what we wanted you to, so I think, is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Hutton? Aye. Mr. Bellamy?
Aye.
Chair Trivett?
Aye.
Vice Chair Stevens?
Aye.
Mr. Fuller?
Aye.
Mr. Carnifax?
Aye.
And again, just to be clear, in case the public wants to know, at the end of this, Superlative comes back with a table full of options, and we don't like any of the options. The board's not obligated to proceed, so. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right, great, thank you. We'll move on and talk a little bit about consideration and action concerning the formation of a general manager applicant review committee. John, do you want to come back up, or Steve?
as stated in our operator's report, we're at the point where we're ready to present the board with final applicants through Kemper Sports' vetting process for our general manager. It would be our recommendation for the board to develop a hiring committee to further vet that candidate or those candidates to come to a final decision, and we'd like you to form that group.
So we haven't had a chance to talk about this, and I didn't know if people wanted to volunteer their time. The only thing I would suggest is let's not have it be more than 2, so we don't have to advertise it as a meeting. Doesn't really matter to me who it is.
I know y'all are all involved in various of these subcommittees, and I have not been, so I can
Okay.
help with this.
Brian? Another
I'm
one?
willing to help.
Robbie? All right, Brian and Robbie on the table. Everybody good with that?
I am.
All right, congratulations,
Sounds
John.
great.
You-
We'll
You
get
got a
you-
committee.
We'll get you the names of the candidates and contact information. We could discuss next steps on bringing them to market and how we do this. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, there's no other business on the agenda, so it's time to adjourn.
I'll
Oh,
make a
wait,
motion.
we have late breaking news.
It's raining outside.
Well, it's something that Drew teed up, and then I whiffed.
Oh, I forgot. I forgot too.
We all did.
Floor.
So we talked about the flooring at the last meeting.
Yeah, we had the design board and we did not have a sample of the flooring for the gym.
Correct. So I'm going to pass this down. So the gray is obviously meant to be the concrete. This is going to be a floating floor throughout the entire sports area. The maple, that is exactly the maple that we're putting in there.
Province, okay.
I did ask and it's not gonna wobble.
Can't take it up and down easy.
It's not gonna wobble like it
Not
does.
parquet.
Right.
That would make it really
Can you
interesting.
imagine having to store, where you would store floor?
About a 50,000 square foot building.
So Todd, it's a floating floor, but it's not sectional, so it could be removed. It's meant to be down there and stay down there, correct?
100%. That floor will not come up.
Yeah, most
We
of
are
us-
going to have venting underneath the floor, obviously, for our turf system,
Right,
but no, that floor will
okay.
stay in place. And it's rated for lifts and everything else.
Could it support a permanent floor? I know there's been,
Championship floor?
Yeah, like bleachers, and if you have a big enough facility, if you wanted to put bleachers around, have like a championship, bring like in a championship floor, would it support that?
I hesitate to answer that because I'm not an engineer.
So I don't wanna jump in front of Todd, but I will say that we answered a question for, I believe, Visit Williamsburg regarding the opportunity to have like a boat show. And so MEB inquired with the maker and installer of the floor and confirmed that it would hold a boat show. So I imagine if it'll hold a boat show.
Water as well?
I don't know about the water. That's more of a Mark Olmsted question. But yeah, I think,
Okay.
I assume if it'll hold a boat show, we can put gym bleachers on it.
I'm assuming,
Yeah, okay,
but,
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
The
I
door's
think it's
gonna be
gonna look
big enough to put the big boats and RVs in there?
We do have big roll-up doors, yeah. No yachts.
Oh, yeah.
No yachts. All right, bummer. All
That was
right.
it. Any
Thank you.
questions about that?
No, thanks, Todd.
Okay.
Okay, now, back to adjournment.
Somebody make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Hutton? Aye. Mr. Bellamy?
Aye.
Chair Trivett?
Aye.
Vice Chair Stevens?
Aye.
Mr. Fuller?
Aye.
Mr. Carnifex?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Short and sweet, Drew.